Hello, hello. Yoo-hoo. Aha. Good morning, good morning.
Hello.
What's going on?
What's up? How's it going?
Look at you. Did you get a haircut?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
So handsome.
Thank you.
Love it.
The barber messed up my beard when I was there, and so I had to shave it all off. And so it feels really weird. I wasn't going to shave it until my next competition too, but it's okay.
Well, it looks great on you, this haircut.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
How's your morning going so far?
Really good. I woke up at like 5, and it's just been kind of chilling, prepping, and that's about it. It's been awesome.
Are you a morning person?
Sort of. I've become one. I used to not be at all, but like as a swimmer, I need to be one. So
Sure.
That's how it is.
Because do you have morning practice?
Yeah. So I just got it back into like full-time training on Monday. And
wow.
Yeah, so I'm doing Monday through Saturday workouts, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday lifting and all that. So like it's all in the morning, so I have to be like, awake and ready.
Sure.
Which I love. Sure. It's so exciting.
I love it. By the way, let's just wait a couple of minutes for more people to join in. Yeah. But I saw that your mom joined the group yesterday.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, I can only help but to assume that she'll be joining us this morning, and I would love to meet her too.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to send her the link because she's always wanted to join like something like this. So
really?
Yeah.
Well, she's in the group.
Yeah, she never gets to hear me speak. Oh man, hold on.
Well, you're great at it.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Whoever is in the room, post a comment in the chat box and tell us, what are you drinking this morning, and also what is your state? If there was one word to define your state, what would it be? Tye, what do you drink in the morning?
I have water right now. I always drink about 10 ounces of water right when I wake up. And then, but I do have a product that I take. I mean, it's X&W.
What is it?
Depends on if I'm going like before practice, but this is called Focus.
Oh yeah.
My favorite product ever. It's insane. Very healthy for you. Has beetroot like extract powder in it, natural green tea, leaf extract. Has like 135 milligrams caffeine. So
yeah,
it's there.
We take it too, and I think some people in the room take it as well. Anybody in here has taken the Focus?
It tastes like a vitamin water.
It does. The purple one. That's
yep. So delicious.
Yep. Do you remember the ad with 50 Cent? It was like 10 years ago. The vitamin water ad. Does anybody remember?
I was 10 years ago. I was 13 10 years ago. So
10 years ago, I was 21.
Okay, I sent the link to my mom.
Yay. I love it. Good morning, everybody. It's so great to see y'all's shiny faces. Show us your face. There they are. What's up, team? What's up? What's up? Tye, just out of respect for your time, give me one moment. I'm going to get set up, and then we will get this party rolling. And whoever wants to join can join us as we're doing this.
Awesome.
One sec. Y'all ready for this?
Tammy, you have a cold brew in the morning, Tammy? I love cold brews. That's awesome. Sorry. I love cold brews.
No, that's good. No, we're all about connection in this community. So they love to hear from you.
Dutch Bros has a really awesome cold brew with the soft top on top of it. It's like
Isn't Dutch Bros? Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you know Dutch Bros? Isn't it like Oregon based?
Well, yeah, Dutch Bros is here though in Phoenix, or where I live. It's like
cool.
crazy here. The culture is insane. So I actually worked at Dutch Bros for 2 years.
You did?
Yeah. So that definitely fit my personality type, and it's awesome.
Wait, so are you on the hippie scale?
I mean, I love people, so yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Lauren Koch is like dancing in the
background. Oh my gosh. I just love to serve people, and that's why I joined Dutch.
Yes. Amazing. You guys, don't you love him already? Give us a thumbs up if you love him already. Are we ready to get this party started? Tye, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Tye. It is such a pleasure having you here with us. So, quick intro about you, Tye, and feel free to add anything if I'll be missing, because I feel like you wear so many hats. So today we have with us Tye Dutcher, an elite world-class swimmer and also human. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys kind of got a little gist of that already. So just a quick background about you and some of the amazing things that you did, though. If 10 years ago you were 13, so you're only 23 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so far he qualified for the 2016 Paralympics in Rio. He holds 12 American records. At the Pan American Games, he won a gold medal at the 100-meter backstroke and a bronze at the 50-meter freestyle. You're a son, you're a husband, but my first question to you is, what else are you? What are if there were 3 words that you use to define yourself, what are they?
Probably definitely resilient and just real. That's one thing I like stress is that I think that like with my life, when I was 11 years old, I was in a lawnmower accident that actually took my right foot. So that's been the biggest thing that's impacted like me and my attitude at such a young age. I was sneaking up behind my dad with a wooden rubber band gun for fun, and he's on a riding lawnmower and didn't know I was there. And I wanted to shoot him, and I was coming up right behind him, and he was reaching the edge of the lawn to turn in reverse. But as soon as I came up right behind him, he put it in reverse, and I stumbled to the ground. And then the mower came at me, and my dad didn't see me. And the tire went over my right foot, and the blade just completely got my foot. My dad sprung up into action and lifted the mower to its side, saw me there crying, screaming in tears, and we were screaming. It was insane. And my dad saw me, and he had to get towels to stop the bleeding, got towels around my leg, stopped the bleeding. I thought it was a nightmare. I thought it was the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life, honestly. I was banging my head on the grass trying to wake myself up, like you see in the movies, people trying to wake themselves up. My dad came back, called 911. I was airlifted to a medical center in UC Davis, Sacramento, California. I underwent 4 surgeries within 11 days, and they amputated about 2 inches above my ankle. So to define how I would think of myself as resilient is that out of my very first surgery, my mom was next to me and my dad, and he was feeling terrible. So was I. We both kept telling each other we were sorry, but my foot was gone. And I looked to my mom out of my first surgery, and I told her, "Mom, I know this happened for a reason. I know there is a purpose." My mom would tape verses on my bedside to keep me encouraged all the time. And, we'd have visitors come in, and she would we would have a secret code word to say if I got too overwhelmed by all the visitors, because I was on so many drugs and I was just healing, and there'd be way too many people at one time. And so I'd say a word, and my mom would ask them to leave and stuff like that. But so many people have encouraged me in this life at such a very young age, and it's built up so much resilience in me. And just being real, the other definition of that, I've lived my life knowing that, I'm going to face more trials. I'm going to face more things that are going to be very hard for me. And it's in my best interest to just be real with myself and accept these trials and these hard challenges, because they're going to pop up no matter what. I've had both my grandfathers pass away and stuff like that, whom I loved so much. And I just had to be real about that and accept that and understand and move on, and that their legacy that they've left, I'm going to try and live that out better. Just stuff like that, how that pieces together. Or even at my job at Dutch, and I worked at Dutch for 2 years, I wanted to be as real as possible so I can serve people and love them in the best way possible. That's how I live my life. And so I think those are the two big things that really define who I am, because I want people to see your genuine self, because like, you are you. Don't try and be somebody else. Be only you. That's like my biggest thing that I say to people. That's what I said when I left Dutch.
Man, this is so powerful. I kind of want to touch up on current affairs, a little bit later, but don't you guys feel like this is so clutch? Like, with everything that's happening in the world right now, and all the riots going on, and then also it being June and Pride Month, like, just whatever you are, like, yesterday we got asked a question by somebody, don't you guys believe that Black Lives Matter? I'm like, we don't need to make a post about it, because we believe that all lives matter 365 days of the year.
Yeah.
Right? So like, we don't need to make it a point one day out of the year in order to make it a thing. So this is, I love that you're touching up on that. So far you described 2 words, resilient and real. If there was one other word, what would that be?
Encouraging.
Encouraging. I love it.
My family would say, my mom would say that right away.
So it's interesting that, normally when I ask people, what are 3 words that you use to define yourself? Like, it would take them anywhere between 5 minutes to 5 days to give me an answer.
Yeah. I've been asked these questions a lot. So
you get asked these questions a lot?
Yeah. In all my interviews. It's whether it's like right after right after I swam my race at the Pan American Games, I was asked these questions.
Yeah.
Like, and it just, you have to, like, for me as a professional athlete, you have to like know these things, because if you know these things, that develops, who you are, then you know who you are in a way. It's like an identity kind of thing. And just that's a huge problem today, is like an identity crisis. And
yes,
really knowing who we are, and we need to find out who we are. And I know my identity is found in Christ, but yours can be found in something else. And that's fine. I know where I belong, and I know where God is leading me. So it's really cool.
So for the audience listening, I want you to type in the chat box and tell us, what are 3 words that you use to identify yourself? Because, this is, and it's a no-brainer where you didn't even have to think about it twice, because you become who you identify yourself as too. Mm-hmm. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Amazing. I love it. So, you started talking about, your journey a little bit, but I want to touch up on that a little too, because I believe that you become a byproduct. Basically, the experience that you have in your life shape your reality. But, though you've made history, like, and you've won some incredible things, and you're only 23 years old, and clearly it's just the beginning for you, right? Like, you lost something that's a part of you along the way, before you won all these things. So tell us a little bit about your journey, basically, if you missed anything with regards for that day when you lost your leg. Yes, you talked about the lawnmower, and like leading up to, basically when all the wins started happening. Like, tell us about the losses that led to the wins.
I think that during my time of healing, I lost my foot, and then a year later I actually had to have another surgery because my bone started growing. I was 11 or 12 and I was growing. But my bone at the end of the leg, like the end of like my nub, it started growing like out or whatever, or it started growing normally, but it was like hitting the edge of my skin where they like stitched it. And it was really painful for me to walk in any kind of prosthetic. Like I could not walk. It was terrible. So I had to have another surgery to amputate about 2 inches more. And so it was like a whole nother repeat of the healing. But this time, like what's crazy is that categorize this as like a loss, but it's also a huge win because during this time, I knew what to expect. I knew that I had to go through this this healing process of being in a wheelchair to taking the cast off, which I hated taking the cast off. That was the worst part. They use like a blade that's like blunt. It doesn't hurt your skin, but like it's so loud and they have to cut into the cast. It was terrible. It was really scary as a 12-year-old. But anyways, they like, what was I saying? Oh yeah. The healing process from being in like a wheelchair to into crutches and then into physical therapy again, in a cast so long again, and you have to learn to bend your leg, move your leg, and then I have to look. And then like the biggest win actually for me, even before this, was me actually looking at my leg. I was terrified to look at my leg because it was just like this. It's like this is like a nub, and it's really cute and cool now, but like it was crazy to look at it because I was terrified because there's no foot there. And my mom would always cover it up with like a rag or something when I took a bath, so I wouldn't have to look at it at all. And it wasn't until I got this huge win in physical therapy when my physical therapist, amazing woman, she was really hard on me and I loved it. I love when people are hard on me because it makes me stronger. And she was like, you know what, we're gonna look at it today. And she brought a mirror out, and my mom actually has a picture. Man, this was in 2009. Crazy picture to look at. But it was of me having the mirror extended out, and my leg. This is my prosthetic. It's pretty cool. My leg ends right here.
I love it.
It was me like getting the mirror out and looking right at the bottom of it, and I wasn't terrified of it. I was like, oh, it's not that bad. And like that's like that in and of itself is like a message right there. I mean, we go through. We can see things so ugly, but we have to really think about how, wait a sec, this isn't that bad. There's actually good out of this. And it allowed for me to heal better and get through life better because I was actually able to look at my leg now and put pressure socks on and to shrink my leg up to fit into a prosthetic. And, you know, my journey of life has been insane because even when I went into high school and swam and played water polo, I dealt with so much loss. I mean, I lost a lot of water polo games and I tried to lead my team and, you know, but I won a lot of races in swimming, but then I lost a lot in polo and then I won in swimming. So there's like a connection that where like swimming was where I was winning, which was kind of cool because I just wanted to beat the person with all their limbs. That's what I wanted to do. I was racing against people that like had all their body parts. And then I got to my junior and senior year and I moved to Washington State during that time. And I lived in like Seattle area, about 30 minutes south of Seattle. And that's where like my swimming career really boosted. That's where I started to really just like train, like grind really hard because my main goal was to get to state my 100 back, which I did my senior year. And I wanted to break one of the records for my high school, but I was like half a second off. And I dealt with that loss because it was like my final race and I was like that close, but it didn't matter to me because my goal was to get faster and I got faster. So like I was a senior in high school, I moved, I graduated high school and I got accepted as a resident at the Colorado Springs Olympic Training Center. And I right after high school, a week after high school, after graduating, I moved to the training center and started training full time in 2015. And with that, you know, that's another big part that I think we should touch up on too, because that's where I met a lot of my trials was at the training center, because it was a whole new world of like elite athletes and everything. And I was not an elite athlete at that point.
I wanna pause here real quick because I do have a couple of questions with regards to everything that you talked about leading up to now. So just to clarify, for the first 2 years, since you had your basically 4 inches off of your leg, amputated. You couldn't even look at it, right?
No, I was scared to look at it.
So this is the concept of confronting the situation, you guys. And this relates to so many other elements of our life, that change can't happen until we confront the situation. So notice that, like in Tye's story, right, for the first 2 years, he just ignored it because he wasn't ready to face it, right? And also that's the power of community. Sometimes because of uncertainty, right, you're like, I think it's gross, I'm scared, I don't know what that's going to look like, I don't know what it's going to do to me, I'm just going to avoid it. However, somebody in his community, in your case, your not physical therapist,
yeah, it was my physical therapist. Yeah.
Oh, it was, okay. She said to you that today's gonna be the day that you're gonna confront the situation.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So like sometimes we make up this story in our head, right, due to uncertainty, and we think that the problem is so much bigger than when it is. When the reality is that step one is become aware. Like, hey, this is what's happening. Right. And would you agree that, at the age of 13, once you actually you got clarity with regards to, okay, like this is what's happening in my body, this is it, like you actually started taking action with regards to your journey? Is that when you started doing water polo and swimming at the age of 13?
So right when it was around 12 when when the accident first happened, I accepted it. I said to my mom, I know this happened for a reason. But it was still hard, obviously. I asked God why a lot. I asked other people why did this happen to me? I don't understand. This makes no sense. But I continued just to live my life purposefully, with purpose, because I didn't want to be bitter. That was my biggest fear, was that I would become really bitter. I actually had aspirations even at that age to want to go to churches and publicly speak and share my testimony, which I did. And then I wanted to go to veterans hospitals and try and encourage these older soldiers who lost their legs in battle and stuff like that. Because I know that even at an older age, I'm thankful this happened at such a younger age, because it became more of I was able to accept it better, I guess, because I guess people when they're older or something, it's hard to accept that because you live so much of your life with that limb, and now I've lived most of my life, or more of my life, without a foot than when I did have 2 feet. But so yeah, that's basically it. But I don't know. Yeah. What was your question again?
No. So this leads to a few other points that I want to make for you guys. So you were saying that, I think it was around high school, you were trying to beat the state record and you were half a second off.
Yeah.
So you guys, and this is a part of Tye's journey with regards to climbing up the mountain. The more you climb up the mountain, the more you need to start paying attention to detail.
Yeah. And most of our life is in valleys. And you have to think about that. You have to know that and understand that.
Yeah.
That mountaintops are very rare. And even though when you get to even when you get to the mountaintops in life, they are awesome. But I found that the valleys are my favorite part. They are the best part in life. They're so much more rewarding. And when I get to the mountaintops, I'm like, okay, this is cool. I want a gold at Pan Am's, but you know what? I want to dig back deeper and go back down and train hard for Tokyo and get a gold there. So let's get back to work. So that, yeah. I just think that's something that we should know.
I love it. Just so you know, I'm making a note for myself because there's a book that I'm going to send you that you would love. Awesome. So far, you talked about 2 separate whys. Now, having a why in this group, if you're here, you know that we always talk about find your why, right? In order to take action. But you gave us 2 separate of really big whys. So I do want to touch up on that a little bit, and then let's move on to the Colorado Springs and your experience there. But you know, your first why that you mentioned was that you wanted to be everybody who has limbs.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. I mean, I think it's phenomenal, but you know, let's touch up on that.
Wow. I am competitive, but I always want to show like humility and stuff. But like when I'm next to somebody in a race, I'm like, I'm gonna beat you. I want to win. So beating somebody with like all their limbs was like satisfying to me, obviously, but it was more of like a statement, like, hey, I have 1 foot and I just beat you. Come on, dude, pick yourself up. Let's go. You should be faster than me right now. It was almost like a weird, like, not a rivalry with other people, but just like, you know, like.
Uh-oh. Where'd he go? Hello, hello?
Oh, am I here?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay.
Where'd you go?
I don't know. My connection is being weird right now.
All good.
All right, I'm good now? Okay.
Yeah. The last thing that we heard, and give us a thumbs up if that was the last thing you heard too, was rivalry.
Okay, yeah. I basically like it wasn't really a rivalry, but like it was just wanting to prove myself in a way. Even though like I think of it now, like as like for today and like my life and where I'm at, I don't need to prove myself because like who I am already proves who I am, if that makes sense. That just shows my true identity and who like what I'm about. So wanting to do that was more of just like it was like an inspiration in like my head. Like it was a motivation to get me to go faster, wanting to beat other people. And there's a race that's in like an old new
Uh-oh. You're going in the twilight zone, but since you're a swimmer, I'll say you're going underwater.
I don't know why.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No. This is good. We're family here.
All right, sweet. Am I back? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
What was the last thing you heard? This is great.
Honestly, I can't put the word on it because it started like going down.
Too bad. I got deeper and deeper underwater.
But you know, we were basically talking about your competitive nature and just wanting to prove yourself and what you're capable of, you know, regardless of what physical ailments you may have.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this is really powerful. Can we talk about your other why?
Yes.
So you started talking about your why of, you know, just being of service to others. And I do want to talk about your spiritual journey through this in just a little bit. But, you know, your why of, you know, just serving others, amputees who've gone through a similar experience to yours. I mean, of course, everybody's journey and story is different, but let's talk about that a little bit. Like, what's the purpose behind it?
Hopefully I don't go underwater. Serving others is something that really stems from just my faith. It's just loving my neighbor, in a sense. And that's all I want to do in life. Like I've been asked so many times, it's a question that like a lot of people ask. What is the one thing you want to be successful in life at? One thing. And I always answer, if I can influence or inspire one person, that's all I care about. That's all I want. I just want to encourage them for their day to day, for their week, their month, their year, whatever I can do. That's what I want to do. Because I don't care about money. I don't care about anything else that I have in like a material kind of world. I just want to invest in people and serve them. So I think that like,
Sorry, 1 second. I just let a few people in the room. That was my bad. You think that was me like putting you underwater? I just threw you into the pool.
I
Sorry.
love it.
Wait, is
You're
it
fine.
happening still?
It's
Okay, we're
good.
good.
Wait, it's good. This is so funny.
Sorry.
It's okay. I just, I want to continue to serve people. And that one is just, it's so important in my life because.
Oh man.
Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You just want to serve people because that why is so important to your life.
Yeah, exactly. And, whether that's going to like a public speaking event or doing this or anything, I think that it's critical because once you serve others or even give to others, you realize like how important that is in your heart. You actually like gain so much from it instead of getting something for yourself when you give away to others. It's the coolest thing. My wife is way better at this than me, and it's like encouraged me and inspired me so much. She gives so much to other people, especially her family, and it's like so encouraging to see that because when you bring joy into someone else's life, you attain that joy from them. Like I get so much joy when I give a gift to my wife or if I give a gift to my friend or something like that. And it doesn't even have to be material. It could be something encouraging.
Yeah.
And then you see them motivated. I think that's the coolest thing.
I love it. You guys, isn't he great so far? Thumbs up. We're all on the same page. We love you, and I'm sending you a big, massive hug just for saying that because
Thank you.
in this community, this is what it's all about too. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, so before we stopped and asked you some questions, we got to the part where you now got to Colorado Springs.
Yeah, sorry, I'm choking on water.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Colorado Springs.
So you now got to Colorado Springs and you noticed that you are now training at a whole other caliber with people who are like much better.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit and how that helped your growth and development.
So I didn't even think that I was going to go to a training center or train for games. To start off, I grew up with 4 older siblings. I'm the baby in the family. 3 older brothers, 1 older sister, and they all joined the military. And that was my dream. It was like one of my dreams to like serve or represent my country in some way. I wanted to join the military so badly, but I can't as an amputee. It's like an actual rule that they have in like their whole like thing before you go in. So my way of representing my country was to do this. I was like, this is awesome. I was so stoked, and I was so used to just like regular training. Like I never did club swimming. I only trained during like swim season in high school, which is like 3 months out of the year, and that's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was insane. So going to the training center was the biggest like change of my life. Like this place is awesome. So I lived there as a resident. It's in Colorado Springs. It's like this maybe 5-acre, this huge like center. It's awesome, this area. And you have like you live in like residence halls. It's like a resident hall, then right in the middle it's like a cafeteria. Then all on the other side, way out, are like the pools, the weightlifting facilities, the men's gymnastics team and all that train there, basketball, volleyball. They have everything, boxing. Like it's almost every sport that trains there except for like winter sports, because that's up in New York. But or track, and then track and field is down in California. But I lived there, and I moved there a week after graduating high school, and I just like, because I wanted to get out of the house too. But I totally thought I was just going to go to community college and just like try and get some degree in like, I don't know, engineering or something. I had no idea. So this is a huge change. So you're surrounded by elite athletes there that are way above your level if you're just coming in there as like a newbie. And it's insane because you see how serious they are and committed to their goals and their dreams. And you get to talk with them and experience them. I mean, Michael Phelps would come there with his team, MBAC, from Baltimore for a month. So because you're up in altitude, it'd be altitude training for them. So Colorado Springs is about 6,000 feet up. So you're always training at altitude, and it's terrible.
Question.
Yeah.
So what's it like training underwater at high altitude?
It's hard. You breathe a lot more, that's for sure. You lose your breath very quickly. You have to stay hydrated like all the time, or you could literally pass out, especially with that kind of training.
Okay.
There's a lot of stories of that, but it was a lot of fun. So like you'd have people like Michael Phelps coming there, whom I've met several times. I got to hang out in the hot tub with him, swim in a lane next to him. Like so awesome. He's such a cool dude. He's really humble. He's really massive. He's like 6'6" or 6'7" or something, and his wingspan is like an airplane. It's
How
ridiculous.
tall are you?
I'm 5'11", so yeah. He was like a tower to me, but he was such a cool dude. And you got to see people like Katie Ledecky, Ryan Murphy, and Nathan Adrian. All these are gold medalists from like previous games.
Yeah.
So they're top elite athletes that come there to train there just for altitude training. You also see other elite athletes from other sports. I know Apollo Ono was there for a very long time. He lived there, the figure skater, got gold. Very decorated. And they're all really cool dudes. A lot of people that cycle there, and most professional athletes, are very humble. And I got to actually talk with them and learn how to train and learn how to eat right, learn how to recover. It was the hardest season of my life. I'm down here at 5'2". That'd be like grade center to you. No, just kidding. That's awesome. Wow. But like it was crazy because like I got there eating so bad. I was going to Taco Bell right across the street, or Papa John's, because I needed comfort food, because the food there got really old and tiring sometimes because it's the same stuff every day. But I had to really luckily I had like a sports nutritionist that helped me along the way to really like guide me in the steps of what to do. Because I couldn't eat that stuff, because what you put in your body, that's what you're going to get out in a workout. Whatever you put in, you're going to get out what you put in. And so I had to really learn how to do that. I had to learn how to recover. And this all took months, by the way. Didn't happen right away, and I isolated myself big time at the training center, which was huge. I wish I didn't isolate myself, but I was so tired all the time. And it was just so exhausting. There were actually nights where I did actually want to give up and leave. But it wasn't without the support of my family, and my old friends back in high school. If I wouldn't have them, then, I don't know if I would have given up. I probably wouldn't have, but I was at a really low, exhausted and sore and tired all the time. But I kept the dream in my mind of wanting to represent my country in Rio the next year. And it was incredible. And I know that like literally iron sharpens iron. You guys are sharpening each other daily, and that's the same. Iron, yeah. It's awesome. So continue to sharpen each other, because you cannot go through life alone. Like, you just can't. You need other people. Every person that you come into contact with will and can have better wisdom than you, more knowledge. So seek that wisdom. Like even if I talk to an Olympic gymnast and I'm a swimmer, they have something to share about training or life or anything that they have gone through, because we each have our own story it motivated me and helped me gain more knowledge to continue to better myself. So that's kind of how I treated the training center a lot. And there's just so many trials, but I just overcame the walls. I got back up constantly. And I had amazing teammates to help me get back up too. It's awesome.
I want to challenge you to a question that's kind of off topic, but just because we're getting into it, this is a question with regards to human experience. And for one, thank you for all of your teachings. You're saying so many good things. And by the way, I don't know if you've ever been given that compliment before, but you're an amazing teacher, just saying.
Thank you. Love coaching. It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, you really are. I think you're naturally gifted at it. So, but I think it's related to the fact that you're a servant of God. So, You were talking a little bit about your experience, while being at Colorado Springs, and then, you touched up upon nutrition. So, I mean, in this group, we're in a mission to change the world by teaching people the right movement, nutrition, and lifestyle habits so that they can feel empowered to change their life. However,
Absolutely.
something that we see way too often that makes a lot of people give up when not being in the right community is the concept of impatience. And you said that, like, when you came into Colorado Springs, like, you were eating Taco Bell, Papa John's, all this bullshit, right? And you're like, I was working with a sports nutritionist, and making all these changes took months. And I want to highlight that real quick. You guys, we're talking about an elite athlete who's obviously paying attention to detail, because for him to break a record takes a matter of 0.5 seconds.
Yeah.
This is how much detail we're talking about.
I'm swimming a race that's literally under a minute. I'm training 4 years for a race that takes less than a minute. So whatever I put in my body is everything, and it takes so much time. That's one thing. I guess, man, I should have said this. One of the things that can define who I am is, like, maybe I'm not. I don't know. I was gonna say I'm patient, but sometimes I'm not. But with stuff that, like, matters, I feel like I can be really patient. That's what it takes in this life, is a lot of patience, especially for nutrition. This is a slow process. It's like but it's a really good one if you stay dedicated. It takes about a week to really, if you do like something, if you self-discipline yourself, it takes about a week to really get into, like, your mind. And then it takes about 21 days. If you do it for 3 weeks, 21 days, then it becomes almost a habit. It's really cool how it works. For instance, I just want to share this real quick, because this could help with your nutrition big time. I read an awesome book called Divine Direction by Greg Groeschel. He's an awesome pastor at Life Church in Oklahoma. And he, in one part of his book, he talks about self-discipline at a very small amount in order to make your self-discipline a huge, like, thing for something bigger. The one thing he told me to do in the book was to floss every night. So I flossed every night, and I wanted to create that as a habit. And what I did, flossing only took 30 seconds. It was the easiest thing ever. I realized that it was the worst thing at first. I hated it, but then it became really easy. So I started flossing every single night, and then that took about a week to really, like, go through the hard part of, like, wanting to floss. Then after the 21 days, it became a habit, and I floss every night now. And then that actually sprung up into me next making my bed every morning. This is something that I hated as a kid, because my dad would tell me to make my bed every morning, and I just, like, did not want to. It was really funny. So my mom would make it. But now as an adult, I made it a challenge to make my bed every morning. And now I make my bed every morning because I went through those steps and those days and stayed dedicated. It's the same thing with nutrition. Once you start, you need to start with something really small and of a change. And I bet you've talked about this 100%. And, like, it just, once it starts with something small, it grows into something big, because you want to challenge yourself even more. And wanting to challenge yourself and be uncomfortable is hard, but it's the best thing for your life. Being uncomfortable is when we grow. We're never going to grow outside of our bubble or inside of our bubble. We're always going to grow outside of it. And that's the best part of life right there. So I just want to challenge you with that, is maybe, like, your challenge right now, if you're struggling with any kind of nutrition goals or something, start with something small that's maybe not nutrition based or something. Start with, like, flossing, like what I did. Or maybe, like, I don't know, like washing.
5-minute walk.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things. Or wake up 10 minutes earlier, right?
So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of cool to think of it that way. I mean, with being through, like, the sports nutritionists and stuff like that, it was great. I went through so much with nutrition. And right now I'm at an amazing spot, but it took almost 2 years now that I think about it. But, like, in the moment, it doesn't feel like it's taking that long, because I'm just there every step of the way, and I'm getting better every single time. Every day I'm getting better with myself. Like, when I moved here in Phoenix in 2018, you know, I made it a goal to not have sugar at all, because that was my biggest struggle with sugar. It was I would go to Walgreens and I'd buy, oh man, I don't even want to say this. I'd buy like Thin Mints. I'd buy like the little donuts or whatever, because they're like my like cheat snack that I would have. But I would overeat like crazy. I wasn't doing my body any good. You know, I was gaining muscle, but it just looked like I was not a swimmer, and I hated that. And it was affecting me in the pool big time. So when I came to Phoenix after I moved away from the training center, wanting something more and like an actual balance in my life, I said no more sugar. And I went on the keto diet for a little bit. You know, I tried a lot of different diets out, 100%. So just to see what would benefit my training. Keto didn't work because I need carbs to fuel myself.
I was gonna ask, how did that work?
Was so mad at me when I went on keto, and I was like, I don't know why I did that. But the one thing I learned from keto was that the sugar, you don't have sugar during keto, and I took that away from keto, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna just eat carbs. I'm gonna try and eat really good carbs. Have some kind of colors, mix up your colors. Make sure your plate is colorful in a way, and you can always make anything taste amazing. That's a fact. Ask my wife. She's really good at it. I'm really blessed. But once I took away sugar, I noticed the biggest change in my life. And the first month was terrible. But like, I don't have any sugar anymore. Like, I actually crave fruit. Like, fruit is like literally my candy now. Like, eating a strawberry is like the sweetest thing to me. It's the best feeling. It's really cool. So I don't know. I could talk more about that, but that's kind of like the basis of where like you need to start. You need to start small with the self-discipline, because that's what this all is, right? Self-discipline. And you need to do that. Yeah.
You know, I wanted to touch upon that, because the biggest weight loss problem that I see for women collectively is them for one, going for unsustainable diets instead of trying to seek habits, and then getting really upset with themselves because they actually haven't even developed discipline. So like, we're talking to an elite athlete, you guys, whose level of discipline is way higher than probably 99% of the people in the room. I mean, if not more than that. That's just the reality of it. So like, you already went into it with extremely high discipline, and it took you almost 2 years. And then, you know, women give up on themselves because they're like, I didn't lose 14 pounds in 2 weeks. And I'm like, dude, like, you haven't even gone through step one yet. So I always want to, you know, touch upon that a little bit, just because it's really cool to hear it from somebody else. When you hear it from the same person all the time, it almost like becomes redundant and mundane, kind of like when your mom tells you don't do this, it's like you don't listen to it, right?
It was the same thing with my dad telling me to make my bed every morning. Like, I didn't want to do it because I was like, no.
Yeah.
Oh crap, I froze. But yeah.
Cool. So Colorado Springs, you started training there, and then you went to Rio, right?
Yeah, so this is crazy. All the self-discipline, all the hard work, all of me learning how to train, cover, eat right, everything like that, even mental focus. I made Rio within a year of that training. That was insane. I was at trials and I shaved off and I cut off like 4.5 seconds and made Rio by a hair. Like, it was crazy. I think I was just in my element at that meet. I was ready to show up and just conquer. That's how I felt when I was there. I was like, let's do this. You know, I had nothing to lose because I was only training for 1 year. And it's crazy because all the other athletes were training for like 4 years, and some of those athletes didn't make it, but I did. And so it was crazy, like how hard I trained during that year. And you know, I didn't medal at Rio at all. I didn't even final. But I was there. You know, I got to actually swim against the best and compete against the best. It was amazing. And it was an exceptional experience. You know, like, we can touch more about that too. I actually got really sick in Rio. There's a lot of stuff that happened that was really bad. This is actually interesting because it plays in with like the beginning. We're talking about wins and losses. Rio, even though I was there, the win of that being there, when I was in Rio, I had so many losses. like so many losses. And I can touch on that just real quick. Like
Yeah, please.
I dealt with loss of, I got extremely sick. My roommate had to move out of the room because I was coughing like crazy. And like, I wasn't throwing up or anything, but I felt terrible. There was like some kind of sickness spreading around, and I got it. My suit ripped twice. My competition suit ripped twice, and that's a huge deal because those are like $300 to $400 suits. Um, and those were like my favorite. Those suits, I had backup suits, but those suits were like the best for like what my race was. And so
Sure.
that like plays with your mind mentally when that rips like that, because they're so tight on you that you have to like inch it up. It takes like 20 minutes to put these suits on. That was a huge loss for me. And then just being around, like I was 19 at the games, so being around like other athletes, all the elite athletes there that made the games, they were like mid 20s. I just felt so out of place. There's like insecurities that I was dealing with during that time, and it was complicated and really hard actually when I think about it. It was a time in my life where I realized that what I was doing actually wasn't enough. I made the games, but I could have been doing so much more. I could have been committed even more because I saw these other people, these other elite athletes, and you know, I compared. I did, and I wish I. It's good to compare, but it's not. I don't know. It's a hard line because you want to compare. I compared to them because I wanted to get better than them, but I also compared like indeed that they were better than me, and that was just wrong to do that. But it actually helped, like it fanned the flame big time. Put more logs in the fire to make the fire bigger in my heart to want to like get the medals and like train harder than them and break the records and everything. And that's actually what happened. So the biggest win from Rio was, you know, wasn't really necessarily that I was there. It was after the games where I realized I can be way more elite than this. I want to be more elite than this. I want to train harder. I want to self-discipline myself more. I want to get these medals, and give God the glory. And, I just, that was the biggest win from Rio, aside from all the losses, because I didn't even final. And I got to see all my teammates medal, but I celebrated them big time. But there was still a yearning inside of me to want to, be on that stand as well, on that podium. Yeah. Rio is insane. But there's so many amazing lessons that I learned that I'm thankful I was there for it. Yeah.
So I want to circle back real quick, and I want to start touching upon, just faith and spirituality and having like divine experiences. So, you said that having trained for so much less time than a lot of people who are in Colorado Springs, like you literally like you're still able to make it to Rio, barely like made it, but still were. Do you think that based off of the spiritual journey that you had, and I want to like get to like when that first started, do you think that has anything to do with providing you the opportunity of getting to Rio?
Had everything that I get, or every blessing, or even failure, or anything rough or great in life, it's all for the glory of Jesus in my heart, and it's all helped me get to where I am.
Yeah.
Without God, I would not be where I am today.
Yeah.
And that's my personal belief.
Yeah.
100%. I live daily wanting to give the glory to Him and serve Him in whatever way I can. And that's just how I've always been. I grew up in a really strong Christian household, and it wasn't really until I was about 10 where I really accepted Christ into my heart, and believed in Him. And that's when it really changed my life. And then I believe that from the get-go, if I did not have Christ in my heart, I'd be a very bitter and resentful person. I would not be the man I am right now without Jesus. And every day I try and grow in any way I can in my faith. I do devotionals every day. I read the book like Divine Direction, which is an amazing book. I read Purpose Driven Life by I forget who writes that. Great book. Read Love Does by Bob Goff. It's a great book. any way to grow yourself. And it doesn't even have to be faith-based if you're not faith-based. But I encourage you to enter into that kind of realm, because it's something that spirituality, especially in Christ, that it's just so rooted in my heart that I can't go a day without him, because he is what I cling to. He's my father, and he loves me, and he cares for me. God is my father. And what Christ did for me on the cross is everything. You know, he died for my sins. That's how much he loves me. And so it's really cool just to go through life with that in my head, and to know that I am always going to be taken care of, because I moved to Phoenix with absolutely nothing. I had nothing. I wasn't homeless, but I was living with my friend's mom and my friend. And I had no job, no money, and nothing. And, you know, I sat a lot of days. I just sat in prayer and just asked God, what can I do? What is your will for my life? And I got a job at Dutch, and I started to connect with my private coach. That's the reason why I came out in Phoenix, is I want to get private coaching. And I connected, and it's been the best journey of my life so far, moving out here. I mean, I met my wife, like, what a blessing. I got married last year in August. And so it's been an amazing journey. And I think that my faith is the number one thing in my life of why I'm where I'm at.
So thank you for sharing that. And I agree with you 100%. And for one, for anybody who's listening to this now, or if you'll be watching the repeat, you know, we want you to know that this is not some kind of talk to get you into Jesus or anything. In fact, I myself am Jewish. However, it doesn't matter. Like, we all need to have faith. Like, I don't care what you think. I'm convinced that we all need to have faith, whether it's in a higher power, the universe, call it whatever you want to call it. Just because without faith, we're always going to be stopped. And once we have faith, we're always going to be able to find opportunities. And, you know, you really just started talking about it. Like, when you have faith, you surrender.
Yeah.
Right. And like, you went to Phoenix with no answer. I mean, not Phoenix. Was it Phoenix?
Yeah, Phoenix. Yeah. So
yeah, like with no answers, right? Yeah. Had you not have faith, you probably won't have done it. And we see it so many times in life, literally people blocking themselves off of opportunities because they don't have faith.
When I was at the training center, so right before I moved from there, you know, the reason why I left was because I was just so isolated and I had no balance in my life at all. It was only just train. And I wanted an actual life. I wanted to still train full time and give it my all, but I also wanted to have a life outside of it. And it was one of the hardest weeks. It was right at the end of December. And just a lot happened where I was just in tears, like, daily, where I just wanted to get out, just because of the isolation. And I was on my knees, and I literally just like said, like, God, let your will be done in my life. And literally an hour later, I got a phone call from my old friend that was at the training center and moved to Phoenix. And he was like, hey, I got a coach here or whatever. And like, it was so random because like, I didn't even think about anything like that. And I was just talking with him. I was like, I just need to move out of here. I'm done with this place right now because I need something new. This training has been amazing, but I need something like greater, actually.
Yeah.
And I believe that God totally instilled my friend Jake to call me and just introduce me to the new coach. And I talked with my new coach, whose name is Brian Hoffer, awesome dude. And I talked with him for an hour and a half on the phone in Colorado Springs, and I knew that I was supposed to move there like the next week. And so my mom flew out and helped me move to Phoenix next week. It was amazing. But like, that's just like the power of God right there. Like, so cool.
So do you think that the accident that you had at the age of 11 had anything to do with God, like giving you an opportunity?
What my wife always says this, and I love this so much. She says, what Satan meant for evil, God is using for good.
Can you
So,
repeat that just so that we can all hear it again? Because
yeah,
it's amazing.
what Satan meant for evil, God is using it for good. Like, if you just think about that for a second, it's so true. This is like, this happened for a purpose. I lost my leg for a purpose, and I would never turn back time to have my foot back again because of the blessings. And just like who I am now. I don't want to be who I could have been if I had 2 feet, because I feel like that would be a really cocky and ignorant person. And I just, it inspires me so much to hear that from my wife, because, you know, I could have been so bitter and resentful, like how I was saying in the beginning, but I wasn't. I was actually just like, as soon as it happened, I told my mom, like out of my first surgery, Mom, I know this happened for a reason. I know there's a purpose. And that is because of my faith. That is because of what I believe. It's just because of who I am in Christ. So that's where it stems. And so like, I yeah, 100% to your question. Like, yeah.
I love it. So
Yeah.
I want to take it even further and tell us how faith plays a role when it comes to your performance.
Oh, wow. It's a huge role. Actually, oh, wow.
Am I making you think?
Yeah. I've never been asked this question. Sorry, I didn't think real quick.
No, that's okay.
When I go to like a competition pool, I practice a lot of mindfulness, and mindfulness is basically just getting into like a state of mind where you're like breathing for like, 2 to 5 minutes. It's like a time of silence and stillness. I call it Silence and Stillness Before God. It's a book that I'm reading. I'm sorry, real quick. It's a devotional book that I do with my wife and her family. It's called Emotionally Healthy Spirituality, Day by Day. It's really
Emotionally healthy spirituality.
Yeah, because God gave us emotions, and we are to use them. And if we're not emotionally healthy, then we're not going to be spiritually healthy. That's what it talks about. It's really cool. Yeah, right. There it is. Yeah. And so like I practice that mindfulness, being silent and still, whether that's before God or yourself, and just noticing your breath. Like, you will notice that if you take 2 minutes a day, even just 2 minutes or 5 minutes a day, and just be silent and still and just focus on your breath and and that's it. And your mind will just be like clear. And once you're done, you'll realize like how like clear your conscience is. It's awesome. And so that's what I do before a race is I practice a lot of mindfulness, and it gets me ready and set up. But as I practice the mindfulness, I just thank God the entire time. I just bring thankfulness, and I'm like, let me use this race for your glory. Just let me do this for you. And when I'm in the ready room, which is like this really quiet and crazy, like silent room where like all the athletes are right before you go out to the pool, to the competition pool for your race, you're in there for like 15 minutes, and it's really intimidating. But I just sit there in silence and wait. And as I get to the pool, I say to myself like, not my glory, but yours. And then I just race. I do what I'm supposed to do. I don't rely on God to like use his angels to push me through the pool or something like that. I know that like God has given me strength to become stronger in every practice. And I know that through practice and training and self-discipline of myself, I'm going to be fast in the pool. It's not by some kind of like, God's not just going to give me some kind of natural strength unless he truly wants to swim as fast as I can. Because I know in my heart that I need to put in the work. And that's what he wants me to do, is put in the work so that way I can grow. Even as a Christian, I live such a life of struggle and like just pain and stuff like that. But that's like the best part of life, because people will see your struggle and your pain and see how you overcome it. I always say that trials in life define who you are. How you go through your trials define who you are. That's my biggest thing. So I think that faith plays a huge role in my swimming, but not to a point where I just get to. Oh, Tammy, read this book. You would love it. Sorry. That's awesome.
No, this is great. I love how connected you are with them.
Yeah, as a family, this is cool. So I don't rely to a point where like, hey God, let me swim fast, or like I pray I swim fast today. No, it's about it's where I pray to God and I ask Him, how can I use this race for your mission, for your glory? How can I do that? Whether I win or lose, I'm still going to give you your glory. I don't care. But so like that, that's just kind of how I face it.
This is so powerful. I'm just taking notes for myself.
Sweet.
Awesome. How can I use this for your glory? I love it. Okay, so let's talk about, so right now we're talking about the present. We went through your history, and I want to talk about, where we're going next. Okay. So, just by knowing who you are, I can only help but to assume that you're not even close to what you're, I just dropped you in the
sorry.
pool. It's all good.
Okay, wait, say it again because you froze in my mind.
Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up. Yeah. So I said I can only help but to assume, based off of the conversations that we had so far, that, for you, the best is yet to come. We're just getting started, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you ever took a minute to think about it, but what had Tye Dutcher needed to have done in order to reach his full potential?
Like for me, let me answer that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What could have Tye Dutcher done to reach his full potential?
Yeah.
Like, are you talking more of like a legacy in a way, or like?
Yeah. Like for you, like a complete fulfilled life. What does that look like for you? Like your full potential.
Well, I'm going to send this link real quick, but this is my website. Go to that. I just started this website, and this is where I think like I want to reach my true potential. I want to do like a public speaking circuit big time. That's where I think I can reach my true potential. I want to inspire and encourage as many lives as I can. That's all I care about. That's what I just want to do. And my wife knows that, and she loves it, and she prays for me daily on it. And that's like my main goal. Like, yes, I'm going to train hard for Tokyo. Yes, I'm going to try and be on the podium in Tokyo. But if I'm not, it's not the end of the world for me, because even if I make it to Tokyo, that's an inspiration in and of itself. Like, that's all I care about, is just encouraging others that, like, you got to get back up. You got to rise up to the occasion. And that's the legacy I want to leave. That's what I want my kids to know, is that you need to just love your neighbors, love other people, serve them and care for them, give to them, do what you can for other people. Because when you look at the life of Jesus, it's all he did. He never hung out with the Pharisees or like the religious people or the higher ups or the kings and all that. He hung out with the prostitutes, with the homeless, with people with diseases, with all those people. And he wanted to give a better life for them, because everybody was neglecting them. And that's how I want to live my life. I want to serve everybody that I can in any way.
I love it. I love it. I'm still, I like, the more we have this conversation, the more I'm reaffirming myself that the book that I'm going to send to you is going to be clutch for you. And you're
I can't wait to read it. I'm excited. It's awesome.
So, I love everything that we're talking about. I want to talk about like current affairs a little bit, because 2020 has shown to have come with like so many adversities so far. However, like you said before, what Satan made for evil, God used for good. I took down a lot of notes because you say a lot of good things, by the way. But it all comes to the point of perspective. So like on the outside, it looks like the world is crumbling down. What is your view regarding to what's happening in the world? What do you think is a result of everything that's happening right now?
This is awesome, because my friend posted something on Instagram that I screenshotted. Coolest thing ever.
Okay, show us.
Man, it makes me so happy. It says, this is by a girl named Leslie Dwight. It's just to give her the credit. But it's like literally like my mindset. It's what if 2020 isn't canceled, or what if what if 2020 is actually the greatest year so far? What if 2020 is the year we've been waiting for? A year so uncomfortable, so painful, so scary, so raw, that it finally forces us to grow. God, gives me chills. Like, I want to cry. It's so awesome. A year that screams so loud, finally awakening us from our ignorant slumber. Man, just like hits you. It hits our pride big time. A year we finally accept the need for change, declare change, work for change, become the change. A year we finally band together instead of pushing each other further apart. 2020 isn't canceled, or it's not the worst year, but rather the most important year of them all. Like, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, so awesome. Yeah. I don't know. I read that and I was like, this is it. Like, this is so true. It's so cool.
I agree with it 100%. And I mean, I know that we think very much in alignment, and I just want to, kind of like get a consensus from everybody else, because, man, there is so much hatred going around the world right now. And I think that it's just an opportunity for everybody to come closer together and understand that love is the only answer. And until we learn how to love ourselves, because if you can't love yourself, you can't love anybody else. Sure. Until we learn to love ourselves and other people, then our perspective will always be shifted, and Satan's going to show up, like you said.
Oh, 100%. And I actually went to it's on my Instagram, or it was on my story. I went to a protest 2 days ago with my wife. It was it was a peaceful protest. It was in the capital of Phoenix, and like the Capitol building. And it was all just a time of worship, prayer, and like just, remembrance in a way of supporting like any kind of BLM, or just supporting George Floyd and like any kind of injustice. It was amazing. Like it was Christian based, and there was like at least 1,500 people there. And we were all just like worshiping, singing worship songs and like praying. And like we heard a sermon. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I've never been a part of something like that. Because when I was younger, even in Colorado Springs for about a year, I did urban missions all the time. And it was, am I frozen?
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
No, you're, maybe not.
Am I still there? Hello?
No, now you are. I dropped you in the pool again.
How long what was the last thing I said? Man, this internet.
Oh, you were talking about the mission that you were in, and it was just all based off.
Oh, perfect. Okay. You guys were all frozen on my screen, but I was going. Okay. Yeah, I did a lot of missions group, and like I was really heavily involved in my youth group. I love youth group. But when I got like out of high school, I went to this urban mission for the Springs Church in Colorado Springs, and we would go to these really jacked up neighborhoods, which I love going to these places. And there'd be a lot of gangsters, a lot of people that are drug dealers, people that have probably killed other people, like just OGs, everything like that. And that we'd hang around them constantly. And we would go there with, I have a lot of Black friends. They're awesome. One's name is Corey Ard. He's an artist. He's incredible. He's a rapper, and he's just an amazing preacher. One of my greatest friends. He's such a cool dude. I get so much inspiration from him. And he's actually been leading a lot of marches in Colorado Springs, which is really cool. But I would go with them, and you literally see these people that are living such crazy, broken lives, to say, even though we're all broken, that, they would literally give their life to Christ. And it was the coolest thing in the world. Like, we'd be playing basketball with them, just chilling with them and everything like that. And it was the funnest time. And it's so funny because like the main head pastor was this like 5'9" white Irish dude. So hilarious. And like he has like a thick Irish accent. But like it was the coolest experience too. So like I support all of this, of what's going on in the world. Like it's actually a gathering amidst a lot of some chaos that has stemmed from it. And that's people that are taking advantage of a peaceful protest to like really instill violence, which is not what the true protests are about. That's what I think is happening. Most of it is loving. Like these protests are amazing. It's literally everybody coming together as one, and like just saying that if there's like it's like basically saying if all lives matter, then Black lives have to matter. So we need to support them right now. Sure. Because of this injustice. And so it's just so cool to be a part of that. And just 2020 is one of the greatest years, even with COVID. I mean, COVID-19 it's still going. But like, and my father-in-law is an orthopedic surgeon. So like he talks a lot about it with us, and it's not as serious as it really is, as long as you are, staying healthy, and like really washing your hands, stuff like that. Like the pools were closed for 2 to 3 months for me. So I had no training. Like I had to cross train like crazy and adapt in ways I've never like done before. I was running, which is not a swimmer thing. I was like doing like rowing and cycling and all of that, just to like stay in shape. And finally, like I'm back in the pool, got in the pool last Monday, and I have to train at 8:15 today. And like it's crazy because those months during COVID were the best for me. I actually got some rest that I needed. And even though Tokyo 2020 has been postponed, it's now in 2021. It's like I can think of it either as, wow, that sucks, I was so ready for this, are you kidding me? But instead I think of it as, wow, I have another year to train, let's go, I can get faster now, I can get even more faster. And it's super cool to think of it in that kind of aspect, that during this time of COVID is actually a time where I was able to grow. Like my wife and I had so much time together that we would not have had, and we have grown immensely in our relationship, and it's actually amazing. I've grown close with her family because we had dinners almost every night together as a family. There's so many positives from it amidst the chaos, but like I love this year so much, actually.
We do too.
Yeah.
We do too. It's right. Like Erin said, it's all about how you see it. It's all about perspective.
Yeah. Perspective.
So I want to leave you with one last question.
Okay, cool.
And thank you for giving us your time today, by the way.
This is great. I love this.
If you had one message to share with the world, what would it be?
I mean, I say it all the time, but be you and only you. Because that's God knitted you in your mother's womb. He created you specifically to your core, to your inmost being. Like, you are so unique, and it's awesome. Like, it's the coolest thing ever. Like, I'm a kid that has one foot. Like, that's tight. I think it's cool that I have one foot. My wife loves it. She's like, you look awesome. Like, I don't know, like, and so it's like, be you and only you. Like, that's my biggest message. And to also just to love others. Like, I think there's a lot of things that I can say, but like, if you are you and you love yourself, it frees yourself up to love others in the best way possible. And even if you don't receive the love back, keep loving even more, because that's going to teach them something. So I think that's what I want to share.
Amen. You're awesome, and you're awesome, and you're awesome, and you're awesome, and all of you guys are awesome. Tye, I mean, man, you're such a special soul, and we have so much love for you. Did you guys love him? Yes, this is the new thing. They taught me how to do this. I used to do this.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Look, your heart is small when you're here. Your heart is big when you're here.
True, I never thought about it like that.
Cool heart.
That's like the gangster way.
It's froze again. Dang it.
I love it. Amazing.
Wait.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Hey,
Yeah,
so
thank
I
you.
mean, obviously, we want to be kept up to date with regards to your training and all of the awesome things that you're up to.
Yeah.
You know, leading up to Tokyo, and I mean, man, I know that you're gonna go very far. It's just the beginning for you.
Great.
So
Thank
if
you, guys.
anybody, there you go, perfect.
And what's really cool is that you guys need to check out my website. I worked really hard on it. And if you like have like if your company, or if you know like a church or a youth group or swim club that needs like encouragement or anything like that, please go to my website or send them to my website, because there's a engagement tab that I did all this myself. There's an engagement tab that allows you to read what I'm about. You can look at the entire site to read what I'm about. But you go to the engagement tab and there's a form you fill out. Fill that out, and I can make arrangements to come to wherever. I'll come wherever. I'll come nationwide. I already have 2 swim clubs. Once like the protests die down, COVID dies down, I'm gonna go speak to 2 swim clubs in Sacramento and then 1 in Indiana. So
Hell
I'm
yeah.
really excited. Yeah. So there's anything that like, if your workplace or anywhere, any organization, like let me come, tell them that I want to inspire them and share my testimony with them. Because like what we did today was a lot of question and answer. And that's by the way my favorite thing ever, because it makes me think. So I'm glad we did it this way. But what I do is I have a message that's already crafted for like those venues. So yeah.
Okay. You're awesome. We'll for sure do that, and we'll for sure, you know, be on the lookout for you. You're awesome, and you're such a lovely soul.
Yeah.
And all of the rest of you guys, we wish you an amazing weekend ahead. Do great things for yourself and for other ones, and, you know, stay fresh, stay fly. Thank you, everybody, so much for showing up for yourself this morning and for your time. This was awesome. Tye, thank you.
Thank you. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, everybody else. You're amazing.
Love you all.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.